guys, it's Dasha. Welcome to a bit of a different video. I thought it'd be fun today during Bookmas to go over what I'm putting in this year's reading journal that I have and kind of compare and discuss the things that I put in this journal versus what I used over the last year in 2021. I really have been enjoying having a reading journal to track things like TBRs, and it's kind of a really good creative outlet to just like sit and journal for a while. And I love watching other people's videos, so I thought it'd be really fun to do my own. So this is the journal I'm using. It is from Notebook Therapy. I know everyone uses Archer and Olive, but quite frankly, the shipping is way too expensive for Canada. This was a lot more reasonable. I find the quality is absolutely fantastic. It's got those very thick, what is it, like 160 GSM pages. That's just absolutely phenomenal, doesn't bleed. And I just love, you know, it's got the little elastic, it's still got the beautiful cover that's got a very similar like fabric cover, and it comes with a little pocket at the back and a little clip to hold pages down while you are going through them. Now I have already done a few spreads in here, but I will be working on some other ones, so I thought we could do those together, and I could also show some of the spreads that I have done, and like I said, compare them to my old journal and kind of explain why certain things work, certain things don't work. So here I just have my name, obviously. I made a little index that I'll be filling out as I fill up the journal. 2022 title page. These are just some stickers. I'm not that artistically inclined, unfortunately. I can't draw that well. So here we get into some actual yearly spreads. So these are spreads that I had last year, and I found that I really enjoyed filling them out. Seeing by month what the favorite book that I had was is just so satisfying. My old journal was this it's a set of 3 like moleskin journals. They're like very thin and just not the best quality. Moleskin usually has good quality, but these were just way too thin. But I thought, you know, I already had it. I wasn't gonna spend money on a new journal, especially if I wasn't gonna stick with this, because I tend to abandon creative projects really fast. But it ended up working. I ended up absolutely loving this. So as you can see, I do have a monthly faves here. It was a lot simpler. I wasn't really kind of collage journaling like I have started doing, but I really enjoyed that. So I thought I would do the same thing here. Same thing right over here. My TBR for the year, I have the title as well as the star rating that I'll be giving it. And that is also something I did last year, and I quite enjoyed having some kind of list and working towards a goal of specific books rather than just reading by mood, and it ended up really working. And I ended up reading a lot more of them than I thought, more than I definitely did for the year 2020. So these are staying in the journal for sure. Obviously, I haven't finished filling this out yet. It depends what books I read at the end of the year, because there's some that I would put on the list, but I might still get through those. I don't know yet. And obviously this gets filled out throughout the year. This is another one. I started partway through the year last year, and I ended up really having fun with it. You've probably seen this in everyone's reading journal. It is the quintessential bookshelf spread. So this one's obviously a lot more hand doodled, but I am not a good artist and it's really friggin' ugly. But it was a lot of fun to make, so I just kind of revamped it. I have my ratings at the bottom. Some people do by physical, audio, or ebook, or some people do whether it's a series or not. People have their own organization systems. I personally really like putting the ratings. It's just fun to have like the 5 stars be the one color and you can pick them out really easily. I really enjoyed having that, so that is staying. I also tend to organize mine. I started doing it by series, which I really enjoyed. So this is a stack of books that are not in series, so you can see they're all kind of out of line, but these 3 and these 2 are part of a series, same with these 4, and they're all stacked neatly, same with these. And I really enjoyed seeing the series group together. I just waited until I finished most of them to actually color them in and stuff, but I really enjoyed having them all kind of together. I've been really bad at keeping up with it, so like obviously not all the books I read in 2021 are there, but a lot of them. The next 2 spreads are also ones that I did in the previous year. So I have here my year in pixels. This just tracks how much reading I get done. I just had a lot of fun keeping track of this. So here's the one I did last year. It's kind of a it's kind of a mess because I apparently don't know how to count, so I miscounted the amount of days in the month. And I also didn't think ahead to have a specific color for no reading, which to me is definitely different than reading less than 50 pages, because at least I still got some reading done. So I added that in this year. I just really enjoyed seeing how much I read for certain times. Like I could tell right here was when I was moving, so obviously I got absolutely no reading done, but there's large chunks where I do get a ton of reading done, and it's just kind of interesting to see it all visually. I will also say it helps keep me on track, because I'm like, I don't want to color in another blue square, so I have to read a little bit at least to try to get past the 50-page mark, and it just kind of pushes me to at least read a little bit more, even if I'm maybe not in the mood, and then by the time I read at least 50 pages, I want to just keep going. Here is a reading goals. So this one was like it wasn't like even a spread, it was just a small list that I did in my old journal, but I really wanted to kind of separate it and have it front and center because I really want to focus on my goals this year. I have a few. There's a video going up, or it might already be up, outlining these in detail, as well as some channel goals. So if that is up, I will link it for sure. And I also thought I would put a little visual tracker for my book goal. So as everyone, I put like a Goodreads goal or just a general amount of books I want to read. And I always like seeing them in the journals. Mine is really, really simple. Obviously, I'll just color it in, maybe just put like 1, 2, 3, 4 as I read them. But I do like having the little visual representation, especially because my goal is to read maybe less books, but more complex or longer books. So this will kind of remind me that I'm still doing well, even if it feels like I'm reading technically less books. I'm reading much more difficult or longer or more straining books. This is not technically a yearly spread, but this is just a series tracker. As I read more, I'll add them. But I like seeing it visually. It just reminds me of like, I don't know, it's very satisfying to see it get kind of checked off. I know people have done these for ages. I don't know who I saw did this. If for any of these spreads I know who I took inspiration from, I will link them for sure. But a lot of these are just things that I've seen over and over when looking up like reading journals. So no one specific, but yeah, I left myself some space to continue some series because I'm sure that I will start others. My goal is just to finish series before I start new ones in the new year. So I'm sure once some of these like trilogies will be finished off, I will definitely read some more. And now we get into the new spreads. So I haven't done these yet. I thought I would do some of them. I have a few things planned, and I'm just gonna go on ahead into it. I'm gonna throw on an audiobook and get right into it. So this first spread that I'm starting here is a readathon spread. I actually didn't see anyone do this ever, but I'm a huge fan of readathons. I love participating in them. So I thought I would make a full calendar year, all 12 months, and underneath each month write down what readathon is happening, as well as kind of outline the dates. Some take place over a whole month, but some take place over a week or two. So this would be a really great visual way to remind me of what readathons are happening when. Sometimes you can kind of, come across something on Twitter and you don't know when it's happening or whether you'll be able to do it, but you want to remember it for later. So I thought this would be a good place to catch some of those readathons that I'm interested in, but maybe not necessarily 100% sure that I want to do, or maybe I won't remember them. So I definitely wanted to have a place to jot those all down really quickly. So as you see here, I'm doing the months of the year, and underneath those two boxes are going to be one readathon or two that I'm doing each month. I don't think I'll do more than 2 every month, considering it's just already a lot, but I thought it would definitely be fun to have at least 2 that I'm maybe considering doing, and having a kind of visual timeline of when they're happening to be able to decide whether I want to do them or not. And here I'm just filling in what is going to be my readathon, the Game of Tomes, which is happening through the whole month of March. I'm running this with Ray and Robin, who are my very best booktube buddies. There will be an announcement video coming later, so keep your eye out for that. We did the mini round back in November and it was a ton of fun, and I'm just really excited for it. But it's also just a good way for me to visualize how the spread is going to look once I actually put readathons into it. So I thought I would test it out with one that I know is going to be happening, and I really like how it turned out, to be honest. So here I'm starting to work on my balancing the book spread over to the left on the left side of the page. I don't have any ideas for what to do there. I have a few, but I haven't decided what I want to do there specifically, so I'm working on the right side. And like I said, that is a balancing the book spread. What I'm going to do is each month calculate the amount of books that come into my collection, my physical owned collection, how many books I have read from that collection, as well as any books that I unhaul, and see if the numbers kind of balance out. This is to help reduce my owned TBR and to make sure that I read the books that I purchase. I 100% got this idea from Emma at Drinking by My Shelf. She does this every month, and that's how she structures her wrap-ups, but I thought it'd be a really good idea to have in my journal and view it physically. There's going to be one of these little rectangles for each month of the year. I'm also going to put a value for the 1st of January as well as the 31st of December of next year, and see if I've managed to reduce my own TBR. While that's not a specific goal for me necessarily this year, it is a goal that I try to keep in mind, to try to make sure that I read the things that I bring into my life and not just clutter my home with them. But I think it'd be really fun to have a visual spread and see how many things I bring into my library, how many things I get rid of, and how many I read, and just kind of see where the numbers line up at the end of each month. I've intentionally left the rectangles blank for now, just in case there are certain months where I maybe don't haul any books or I don't unhaul anything, rather than writing them all in ahead of time. I did, however, leave one little rectangle at the bottom to write in the total. I'm saying new total in all of them because I'm sure that I'm going to read some even if I don't haul or unhaul any, and that way I'll still have some kind of value to show for at the end of the month. But I didn't think it made sense to write in any kind of titles in the meantime in case there are things that change from month to month. And finally, it's time for my January spread. So here I'm messing around with a few ideas of how I wanted to set it up. I thought maybe I'd want to do a little collage thing with some wintry theme, but at the end of the day, I decided that for me, my spreads tend to be pretty functional for my TBR and my books read by month. I really prefer to just have a visual representation of everything I read by month, maybe have a cute color theme or something to kind of tie it together to the month that I'm reading everything in. But at the end of the day, what's more important is that I'm able to see my month at a glance. So as you see, I've stamped a little calendar in the corner to track any potential readathons that are going to happen and just have a little visual overview of the month. I've also created a little box here for some stats. So I'm overall a huge stats nerd. I don't keep most of my stats in my journal. I have a separate Google Docs spreadsheet where I track things like the format of the book I read, whether I got it from the library or I bought it or it was a gift, maybe the rating and the author's gender and race, that kind of thing. So that's where I keep most of that kind of stuff, but I thought it'd be fun to have an overview at the end of each month what the number of books I read was and the pages read. I also tend to enjoy tracking my subs at the beginning of each month. For me, it's just a fun way to kind of see my growth. It's really interesting to me how the YouTube algorithm works. Certain months just do so much better than others. So it's fun to have that kind of in my journal, since books and my booktube are obviously very closely linked. As you can see, I made a space for books on my TBR for each month. Since I play a TBR game, it's fun to have somewhere to write them down, just to remember what it is that I rolled and picked. I also left some room for any other reads, because sometimes I read more than what is on my TBR. And at the bottom, as you can see, I have a little space for writing down the books that are going to be part of my goals for the year. Those essentially boil down to reading more classics and reading bigger books. So hopefully that little space at the bottom of each month will keep me on track. And as you can probably tell, this is just a little final flip through. Just wanted to show you guys how everything looked when it was done. I clearly went with a bit of a purple theme for the majority of the yearly spreads, and I really like how they all turned out, whether it was with the little stones, crystals, or whether it was flowers. I really liked how everything came together. I love that soft lilac color. That's such a favorite color for me, and I really liked integrating it into my spreads. But yeah, that was it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, maybe got some ideas. I love watching everyone else's, so I'm really hoping that mine could possibly inspire someone's, or at the very least, it's a very enjoyable and creative, relaxing video for you. My social media is linked down below, as well as other Bookmas videos if you want to go check that out. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!